Title: How Bill Gates Quietly Took Over the PC World, the Secret Strategy That Made Microsoft King of Software. This is not a fan piece or a hate piece. It's a breakdown of the problems, choices, and lessons from the early days of the PC world, written so a 10th grader in the US can follow. Part 1. The Wild Early Days of Personal Computers. 1. The problem in the beginning. In the 1970s and early 1980s, computers were huge, expensive machines used mostly by governments, universities, and big companies. Early personal computers existed, but they were all different, hard to use, mostly for hobbyists and geeks. Examples of problems then: no standard operating system, OS, for everyone. Many different hardware designs that didn't work well together. Software was often tied to one specific machine. 2. Significance. This messy situation meant it was hard for everyday people to use computers. It was hard for software companies to build programs that worked on many machines. There was no clear leader in personal computer software. This chaos is the world Bill Gates and Microsoft walked into. 3 causes. New technology. People were still figuring out what a personal computer should be. Many small companies experimenting with their own designs. No universal standard like we have today with Windows on PCs or iOS on iPhones. 4 early effects. Confusion in the market. Slower adoption of computers by regular families. Big opportunity. Whoever could create a standard could control a huge part of the future. 5. Signs and symptoms. What it looked like. People had to ask, will this software run on my computer? Programmers had to rewrite code for each machine. Companies came and went quickly. The market was unstable. Part 2. Microsoft's big break. The operating system deal. 1. The problem Microsoft faced. In the early days, Microsoft was a small company making programming languages, like BASIC, for early computers. They were not yet the king of anything. The big question: how do we become important in a world where computers are exploding in popularity? At the same time, a giant company, IBM, wanted to enter the personal computer market. IBM's problem: they needed an operating system for their new PC. They didn't want to build it themselves from scratch. 2. Significance of the IBM deal. IBM was a huge name. If you got your software on IBM's PC, other companies might copy that model. Your software could become a standard. Bill Gates saw this as a massive chance. 3 causes. How it happened. IBM approached Microsoft about software. Microsoft did not have their own completed operating system yet. They found a small company that had one, QDOS/86DOS, bought the rights, adapted it, and offered it to IBM as MS-DOS. The key move. Microsoft kept the right to license MS-DOS to other computer makers, not just IBM. 4 effects. IBM PCs use MS-DOS. Other PC makers, called incompatible, also license MS-DOS. Soon, millions of PCs are running some version of Microsoft's operating system. Microsoft becomes the standard OS supplier for the exploding PC market. 5 signs and symptoms. Most new PCs in the US come with MS-DOS, later Windows, squashed inside. Software developers think, if it doesn't run on MS-DOS/Windows, we're missing most of the market. Part 3. The rise of Windows, making PCs usable for normal people. 1. The problem. MS-DOS was powerful for its time, but hard for average people to use. Text-based. Required typing commands. Unfriendly compared to what Apple was doing with the Macintosh, with Windows, icons, mouse. Average users wanted a visual, easier to understand interface. 2. Significance. If PCs remained hard to use, only experts would use them. The company that made computers easier could reach schools, offices, homes. 3 causes. Apple released the Macintosh with a graphical user interface, GUI, in 1984. Microsoft saw that this was the future and pushed to create something similar for PCs. Windows. 4 statistics, big picture. Throughout the 90s and 2000s, different versions of Windows ended up on the majority of personal computers worldwide. Microsoft Windows's market share in desktop operating systems has often been reported around 75 to 90%, during its peak periods. 5 effects. Positive. PCs became much more user-friendly for regular people. Many more people could write documents, use spreadsheets, play games, access the internet. Negative/controversial. Microsoft was accused of pushing out competitors, using its OS power to favor its own programs, like Internet Explorer. Government investigations into whether Microsoft had a monopoly and abused its power. 6 signs and symptoms. Through the 90s, almost every school and office in the US had Windows PCs. Software packaging often said, runs on Windows 95/98/XP, etc. Saying, I use a PC basically meant, I use a Windows machine. Part 4. The problems in the early PC world that Microsoft exploited and helped solve. Here we connect back to your requested structure. Problems, significance, causes, stats, effects, signs, solutions. 1 problem, no standard platform. Early on, there was no standard way for software to reach a huge audience. No guarantee your program would run on most computers. 2. Significance. Without a standard, innovation slows. Developers waste time rewriting code. Users get confused and frustrated. Microsoft's OS, MS-DOS Windows, became the default platform. 3 causes. Rapid growth of tech. Many small, competing hardware companies. Lack of coordination on standards. 4. Statistics, general context. By the late 1990s, hundreds of millions of PCs worldwide ran Windows. Most new software was built first for Windows. 5 effects. Good. Unified platform for developers. Lower software prices due to big volume. Explosive growth of PC usage in businesses, schools, homes. Bad. Strong dependence on a single company. Less space for alternative operating systems. Higher power for Microsoft to shape what users saw. 6 signs and symptoms. PC equals Windows in most people's minds. Teachers saying, open Microsoft Word instead of open a word processor. Internet Explorer being installed by default on almost every PC. 7 solutions step-by-step from Microsoft strategy view. This is not what you should do personally, but what Microsoft did step-by-step to become king of software. Step 1. Become the standard OS supplier. Secure a deal with a big player IBM. Keep the rights to sell the OS to other PC makers. Step 2. Make the OS central. Encourage more and more software to be built for your system. Create development tools for programmers. Step 3. Make it easier for regular users. Move from MS-DOS to Windows, GUIs, mouse, icons. Bundle basic apps, text editor, browser, media player. Step 4. Use your position to protect your turf. Strong marketing deals with PC makers. Pre-install your products like Office, Internet Explorer. Many of these moves were later criticized as anti-competitive, but they show how problems in the early market were turned into an opportunity. Part 5. The hidden problems behind Microsoft's early success. 1. Problem: monopolistic behavior. As Microsoft grew, it dominated operating systems and key software like Office. Smaller competitors found it hard to survive. Accusations included using its OS dominance to push its own services, e.g., browser, and block rivals, making it hard for PC makers to ship competitor products. 2. Significance. A monopoly. One company controlling a market can reduce competition, slow innovation, lead to higher prices or less choice in the long run. In the US, this raised alarms among regulators and governments. 3 causes. Massive success of Windows and Office. Aggressive business strategies. Desire to protect their dominant position. 4. Statistics, context. By late 1990s, Microsoft's Windows had over 90% market share on desktop PCs, in some estimates. Microsoft became one of the most valuable companies in the world. 5 effects. U.S. Government Department of Justice and states sued Microsoft for antitrust violations. Long antitrust case in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Microsoft had to change some practices and be more open to competition, especially around bundling software. 6 signs and symptoms. Fewer OS competitors in mainstream US. Home/office markets, mostly just Windows, with some Mac and tiny Linux share. Software companies felt they had to build for Windows first. 7. Solutions, system level. From society's and government's point of view. Step 1. Investigate. Look at whether a company is preventing competition, abusing its dominant position. Step 2. Enforce rules. Antitrust laws used to fine companies. Force changes, e.g., allow uninstalling pre-installed software. Provide more choices. Step 3. Encourage competitors. Support open standards. Allow space for alternative platforms, e.g., Apple, Linux, web-based apps. From a personal point of view, understand that a company's huge success often involves strategies that aren't just having a good product. Part 6. What this means for you. Lessons about strategy, power, and problems. This part turns the historical story into personal lessons for a 10th grader in the U.S. 1. Problems you might face, your world. Confusing popularity with quality. Believing the biggest company is always the best or the most ethical. Thinking good ideas automatically win without strategy. 2. Significance for your life. Studying Gates and Microsoft helps you see how strategy plus timing can change entire industries. Understand how early problems in a market create huge opportunities. Recognize that power can be used well or badly. 3. Causes. Why students miss these lessons. School often talks about inventions, who made the computer, but not business strategy. Media stories may oversimplify. Bill Gates is just a genius coder, ignoring contracts, deals, and legal battles. We like simple heroes/villains, not complex real-world stories. 4. Effects. If you don't learn this stuff, you might think success is just luck or IQ. Miss chances to be strategic in your own path. Get fooled by companies that look friendly but act ruthlessly. 5. Signs and symptoms. You say they're rich, so they must be right. You believe the best product always wins. Not always true. Sometimes the best strategy wins. 6. Step by step. How to think more critically. Step 1. Ask, what problem did they solve? For any big company, Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, ask, what early problem did they solve for people? Step 2. Ask, what strategy did they use? Partnerships, deals, pricing, making themselves the default choice. Step 3. Ask who lost power when they gained it. Did other companies fail? Were there complaints or lawsuits? Step 4. Ask, what can I learn from this? For your career, for your own decisions, not just tech, but life choices. Part 7. Final lessons learned from how Microsoft became king of software. Let's pull it all together. 1. Lesson 1. Solve real problems in chaotic times. Early PC world was wild and confusing. Microsoft created a standard platform, MS-DOS Windows, that reduced confusion. Big lesson. In chaotic times, if you make things simpler and more standard, you can become very powerful. 2. Lesson 2. Strategy matters as much as skill. Bill Gates was smart, but his business decisions were just as important. Keeping rights to license MS-DOS, moving to graphical Windows, using bundling and deals. For you, talent is great, but how you use it, who you partner with, and what deals you accept or refuse matter a lot. 3. Lesson 3. Being the default is huge power. Microsoft became the default on most PCs. Once you're the default, people rarely switch. Competitors struggle. This applies everywhere. Default app, default website, default brand. 4. Lesson 4. Big power brings big scrutiny. Microsoft's dominance led to antitrust investigations, court cases, required changes in behavior. Lesson. Extreme success can create pushback from society. 5. Lesson 5. Don't confuse success with perfection. Microsoft did many smart things, also made mistakes, shipped buggy software, and faced serious legal and ethical questions. Real life, like real people, is messy. 6. Lesson 6. For your own life, ask yourself, am I going for real strength, skills, savings, health, or just appearance, flexing, surface-level success? Do I understand the systems, school, jobs, tech I'm moving through, Or am I just reacting? 7. Lesson 7. Use these stories as maps, not scripts. You don't have to be Bill Gates, but you can. Spot problems early. Think strategically. Understand that big outcomes come from many small, smart, and sometimes controversial moves over time. In short, how Bill Gates quietly took over the PC world isn't just a tech story. It's a story about solving the right problem, making powerful deals, becoming the default, handling and causing problems of huge success.